right now. On this Monday, as you know, I am a judgmental guy, no surprise. I think that comes from my Irish Catholic background, but I try to be very fair before making any judgments about people. But I can make this opinion known. Bad parenting in America may be at an all-time high, and the kids are suffering grievously. So what is bad parenting? Well, first of all, the obvious. If you abuse children, you're a bad parent. If you intoxicate yourself in front of them, that's terrible parenting. If you don't care what your kids do, that's child neglect. If you don't pay attention to their schooling, if you don't affirm learning in the home, if you don't have discipline in the home where they have to follow rules, then you're a bad parent across the board. Now, baby boomers like me were raised by parents who were, let's say, harsh because they went through the Depression, World War II, a lot of cycles that influenced their psychology. You remember the old adage, spare the rod, spoil the child. Well, that's a bunch of garbage. I've never hit my kids. I wouldn't even think of hitting them. And I very rarely even yelled at them. And the times that I did were a mistake. But there was discipline in my home. And the kids had to perform responsibly. And that is the key to good parenting. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, good morning, freedom lovers. Kenny Williams.
Happy Monday.
And to you, sir.
Monday the 13th, that is.
Ooh, is that like
I don't know what it is.
Superstitious or something?
No, really. I just thought, it sounded good.
I'm Vic Porcelli. That's Ken Williams. He's got a very big deck.
I've been working very hard on
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I don't know how you do that. I don't know a wrench from a pliers. And you're like building decks. I took a nap.
Well, full disclosure, my next door neighbor, he's been doing it for quite a while, and he's actually done most of it. So
it's okay. It's all right. All right. We got going this morning. We're doing the great correspondent switcheroony today. Douglas Blair and Rob Bluey are switching places today. We're going to talk to Doug here in just a second. Rob Bluey at the end of the show. That's crap at 9:25. And Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management at 10:05. We're going to talk about your taxes and holding on to your money. That's what Chris does. All right. Doug Blair, I believe, is going to even before. Do we do this first? Do we do the thing first?
Do Doug, pledge first, man.
Pledge first. Douglas K. Blair, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Of course I can do the Pledge of Allegiance. What is this? Communist China?
What is this? Russia? Of course. Go ahead, baby. You're on.
All right. Let's do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well done, Douglas K. Blair.
Good morning, good morning.
This just in. For the latest news from the D.C. swamp and beyond, This is the Vic Porcelli Show East Coast Report with Douglas Blair on NewstalkSTL.
Good morning, good morning.
Thanks for indulging us in the switcheroony today. We appreciate that.
No, of course. It's just great. Rob messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I know we both do the Vic Show. Can you swap with me on the Vic Show, buddy?"
All right. Now, as a show here, that's kind of cool that two big guys like Bluey and Blair talk to each other. Oh, you do the Vic show? That's kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So let's talk about what's going on in the swamp, or at least the reaction in the swamp from the Trump trials going on in New York. Michael Cohen, the liar, the perjurer, the felon, has a credible witness, huh?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Michael Cohen's a rat. We all know he's a rat. He's always been a rat. He always will be a rat. And I think part of the problem here is that Democrats have staked so much on this Trump trial that it's not playing out how they want it to, but they don't really have a choice, right? If they had sort of tried to say Biden is, doing a good job as president, and then, you should elect him again, that would be one thing, but he hasn't. So the only thing that they can rely on is trying to get Trump. But Stormy Daniels goes up in a disaster. Even CNN, which is no fan of the Trump administration, has admitted that her testimony was terrible. I don't expect Michael Cohen to be much better because, again, like I said at the top, he's a rat, and rats don't particularly give good testimony.
Right. And, these trials are falling apart. The Jack Smith trial's falling apart. Fannie Willis trial's falling apart. Now this one's falling apart. And not for nothing, but what's the rumble in D.C. about 100,000 people showing up in Wildwood, New Jersey this weekend?
Well, I think that it's starting to freak out Democrats that reliably blue states are starting to turn. I mean, even back in the midterms, though the midterms didn't go exactly how we wanted, there were some worrying trends for Democrats. I mean, there were certain places that should not have been competitive that became competitive. I think that Democrats are starting to realize they can't rest on their laurels. Like I said at the beginning, their strategy so far has basically been to say that Trump is evil, fascist, the Hitler 2.0, and you shouldn't vote for him because they can't point to any policy victories for the Biden administration. But that doesn't work when people remember how Trump's administration went and how they had money in their pocket, the border was secure, and we didn't have all these foreign wars. So I think that Democrats are going to have to realize that if 100,000 people are willing to wait hours and hours and hours in New Jersey to see Donald Trump speak, that should be a red flag. Those alarm bells should be ringing real loud.
All right. First thing, the stats on that: 100,000 people show up in Wildwood, New Jersey, a town or a city with a population of 5,000. So
yeah,
people went out of their
way.
And not only that, you guys, but apparently a lot of people stayed overnight. They waited 24 hours to get in there.
And lots of hotels, obviously, right? Resort town.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, I think that that's an indicator. Yeah, that people are really pulling out for Trump. They're willing to sort of go out of their way to go to a small town in New Jersey. They're willing to wait when they have jobs, families, friends that they could see. They're willing to support this man in his 2024 campaign.
And New Jersey, I think, I'm from New Jersey originally. And when I hear that New Jersey is a blue state, I'm like, everybody I know from New Jersey is conservative. How did that happen? I mean, do you think sometimes, I don't know, something's fishy going on when you just really kind of feel in your heart that what people are saying just aren't the truth?
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, we saw this in the 2020 election, right? Although I don't want to get us canceled again.
You were the one that did it. That's right.
You can see is that you can see that there are definitely things that don't quite make sense. I again, that I'm from Oregon, and when I talk with people from Oregon, they say very conservative things. Even in Portland, they'll say things like, "Oh God, I really hate that I can't walk down the street without feeling like a homeless man's going to assault me, or I can't, I have to dodge human feces, or I have to dodge drug needles." And they'll say things like, "I want more police," even if they'll, like the protesters and the people that are destroying the buildings and all this stuff are saying the opposite. The average citizen in these places is saying some very conservative stuff. So I even think that in places like Portland, Oregon, where it's considered to be overwhelmingly blue, there is some chicanery going on where people say, "I want this policy," but then they either don't vote for that person or they do vote for a person that might have that policy, but something on the back end changes. I can't confirm or deny this, but it does seem a little shady.
It seems weird. And, Representative Jeff Van Drew was a Democrat. He switched parties, came over to the Republicans from New Jersey. I mean, you know what, too, now that I brought that up, have you noticed that a lot of people are switching from being a Democrat to being a Republican, but nobody goes the other way? No Republicans turn over to the Democrat side. Isn't that weird?
It's true. And I think one of the things that's so funny about that, too, is Bill Maher made this point, and I don't agree with Bill Maher on a whole lot, but he made this point that conservatives and Republicans are unabashedly what we are. We are unabashedly Republican, and we are unabashedly conservative. You watch campaign ads, Marjorie Taylor Greene's got the guns, she's shooting up socialism. It's great, awesome. Democrats always try to couch it. They're always like, I don't know if I'm proud to be a liberal. I don't know if I'm proud to be, because they shouldn't be. They should not be proud to be Democrats because Democrats are bad. Like the policies are terrible. The only reason they are is because if they don't say that they're Democrats, if they don't say that they're liberals, they get eaten alive by their base.
Unbelievable. So what's the polling angle on Trump's VP pick? Any polling going on there?
There's been some weird talk in the district, and I don't know how much of this is bought up by the Burgum campaign, but Doug Burgum has popped up every once in a while as a potential VP pick. Is that going to happen? No, I don't think that Doug Burgum is going to be the VP. You tell you who else isn't going to be the VP, and our polling data plays this out. Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem has destroyed her political career. It's kind of spectacular to watch. I've never quite seen a political fail nearly as bad as Kristi Noem's, but she is now off the VP list. We're looking now at people like Tim Scott. Marco Rubio is starting to pop up again. And then, of course, we've got some more moderate people from the Midwest, like a Joni Ernst. Or even a J.D. Vance. We've got some people who would shore up the places like Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, all those places that might be in play.
Have you heard anything about? Have you heard anything about Ron DeSantis at all?
Ron DeSantis is not in play. He is popular as a pick, but from what I've spoken with people in the campaign, and I've spoken with people in Washington, it seems as if that would be a strange pick for Trump. I think that what Trump wants is somebody that's going to be shore up his weaknesses. Trump is a good politician. As much as the Democrats seem to think he's a crazy person, he has this instinctive ability to understand what he needs and how he needs to shore up his ability to attract average voters. So I don't think it's going to be a Ron DeSantis, who's very much in the MAGA vein. A very good politician, very smart man, but I just don't think that that's the position that Donald Trump wants him to be in.
Nice.
I think with DeSantis and with Rubio, by the way, they can't. People in Florida, there's some kind of weird thing because they're both from Florida.
Yeah,
that people in Florida wouldn't be able to vote, and Florida would be handed over to the Democrats too, right? That's a problem.
There is definitely some constitutional questions. However, again, we're in some weird territory, Vic, where we've seen as time has gone on, these degradations of norms where, you know, people that probably shouldn't be running for president are running for president. People that legally can't run for president are trying to do it. I know Cenk Uyghurov on the Democratic side, who was born in Turkey, was running for president. The Democrats didn't say anything. They basically were like, yeah, go right ahead. So it's interesting. I don't know exactly if there would be a massive issue if Rubio were to become the VP candidate. I don't think that he's going to be. His name has been floated. I've heard it a few times. But that's something that I think would come up a little bit later. I would say if you're looking for somebody who's going to be a likely candidate, you should be looking at Tim Scott because he's more of a moderate. He's a black man, which I think is something, unfortunately, that even Republicans are falling prey to, the identity politics, where you have to say, oh, well, you know, look at who we have on the ticket. He's a good man. He's a good conservative. But I think that is in play here. But then also you might be looking at somebody from the Midwest. So I would be looking at Iowa. I'd be looking at Ohio. I'd be looking at Wisconsin. Maybe it's some lesser known senators, lesser known members of Congress.
Yeah, they asked me. I'm just too busy. I can't do it. Just can't do it. So what's the take in the swamp, Doug, about Joe Biden doing an interview with CNN? And he says, you know, when I took office, inflation was 9%. I mean, even the Democrats have to be saying, oh, why did he say that?
Well, I mean, the problem is that it's easily falsifiable, right? One of the things that certain politicians can do is they can be like, well, if you look at it this way, if you look at the numbers this particular way, it is actually true, or it can be construed as true. This is something that is undefendable. It's indefensible. It's one of, I mean, for us, it's another one of Joe Biden's lies. It's very obvious that he does this all the time. But for Democrats, it's even more difficult because, one, they have to defend the fact that actually, no, he was incorrect. Inflation was not that number. But then secondarily, it's also one of those problems where his cognitive abilities are called into question yet again. I mean, we just could add it to the pile of evidence that Joe Biden mentally is not there. I mean, we had a story a couple of weeks ago about how he's saying his uncle was eaten by cannibals. And it's just one of those things now that we say about Joe Biden, is he just makes these things up, or he's just completely gone. Like mentally, he's just got Alzheimer's. So I think that every single time Joe Biden opens his mouth, he either lies or says something that makes him look stupid. And every single time he does it, it makes it a lot more difficult for him to win re-election.
So that being said, at the end of the week last week, Ken and I were talking, and we came up to the conclusion that because the media, the mainstream left-wing media is turning on him. Some people in his own party are turning on him. So clearly, to us at least, I say clearly, maybe it's not clearly, but to Ken and I, it looks like he's not going to be the nominee at all. And they're just doing this so they can get rid of him because they know he can't win. And they want to put somebody in there that they can cheat with and win and steal another election. What do you think about that theory?
Well, when I talk with my folks here in D.C., even with my Democratic operatives, and I say, like, what do you think about Biden? Do you like Biden? Of course, I mean, unanimously, no, right? Nobody likes Biden. Nobody thinks that Biden is super inspiring, the man that they would go to war for, that they would die for. However, they recognize that they're in a pickle because if Joe Biden doesn't run, who does? The question is it Michelle Obama? No, I don't think she runs. I think that would be, I don't think people would kind of go for that. I think that it would be a bit difficult to also convince her to run. She seems very happy, huckstering and frauding and being big in Hollywood and doing all that stuff. So I don't think that she's it. Gavin Newsom is another name that gets popped up a lot. California is a mess. It's one of those places that you never want to go. You would never want to send your worst enemy because they would probably get murdered by a street gang or get jabbed by a homeless person. It's horrible, right? So Gavin Newsom is out. Who else? Kamala Harris can't do it. She's terrible. She polls worse than Biden does. So that's the issue here, is that every single person that you could have as a replacement for Joe Biden is probably worse than Biden himself. And I think that basically puts them in a scenario of damned if you do, damned if you don't. The only way that he can sort of, give somebody else the chance to run is if he says, personally, I am selecting this person to be my replacement. I want this person to, carry on the torch. Otherwise, it's got to be him.
So, Doug, do you think that Trump, and this would be my wildest dream come true, if Trump and Biden debate? Because I guarantee you it would be a popcorn gathering situation.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I think that this would be the event of the century, right? Like people would buy out movie theaters and they put it on the big screen. But I think that Trump is very much pushing for it. I think Biden is actually starting to push for it too, because he realizes that if he doesn't do it, he's probably going to lose based solely on the fact that he looks weak. If Trump, I don't know if you guys have noticed this too, but mainstream media outlets like the New York Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post have been trying to push this narrative that it's actually Trump who's got the mental problems. He's falling asleep during his trials. Oh my God, he's an old man. Trump basically saying, I'm willing to debate, put me out, coach. And Biden saying like, I can't do it. I'm busy that day. It starts to play off that, Trump is right. He's the one with the energy and Biden's the old doddering old man.
Come on, Joe, let's do it. Anywhere, anytime, any place.
Bring it on. All right. Douglas K. Blair on Twitter, Harris @Harris_X_. Change that. That's too hard to say, will you? God's sakes. Doug, great to have you. And thanks again for doing the switcheroonie with us this morning. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. I'll see you next week, guys.
All right.
See you, Doug.
So listen, with everything he just said,
yeah,
and our theory that, if I were a Democrat, I would be shaking in my shoes right now if Biden was. So here's another theory.
Okay.
And write this down in case it happens. We can say, we said that first because we're a bunch of. So what if they change VP picks, right? What if they change the VP to somebody else, and then Biden drops out, and then it's not Kamala, it's somebody a tiny bit more competent than she?
Well, I think the VP pick change is a great little unknown that we didn't talk about. I think that's a good idea for you to say that anyway. But I don't know, man. I think Doug's right. I don't think there's anybody out there that people are going to say, oh, okay, that'll work.
All right, then, Ken, you know what? If Biden's going to be the guy and he wins, then I quit. I quit.
I just believe that the only way they're going to be able to win is if they cheat.
Okay. We'll be right back. That's Crap is next on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
If you try anything to raise the cost of precision jobs, I will veto it.
On NewstalkSTL.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. NewstalkSTL.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Tim Jones here. I'm with Eric from Newsteaders, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, Newsteaders has been around since 1961. Tell us the story.
Well, Richard started this 62 years ago, and we've stayed a local family-owned store since then. We've actually got 3 generations of Newsteaders working in the store. Richard, his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, and we all love what we do. We're kind of a St. Louis family tradition, and we do a lot of unique and one-of-a-kind custom pieces, as well as repairs. There's basically nothing that we can't do, and all of our work is done on site, so you can feel secure knowing that your jewelry never leaves, which is unusual now. And we can computer generate images of custom pieces if you want to go custom. We can take that old jewelry that you're not wearing, and we can turn that into something new that you absolutely love.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it. They are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
68% of black voters saying that they're ready to vote for Joe Biden.
This is 1019 and 94.1.
Hispanic men favoring Trump over Biden. That's a real problem for the Biden campaign.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
On News Talk STL.
Chuck Berry. Johnny Be Good. And is there any way you can just put like the beginning just one more time?
Oh, yeah.
That riff that I love so much. There's something about like, I don't know, 7 or 8 notes. You're the cat. How many notes is that? Like 7 or 8 notes?
About 7 or 8.
Go. God, I love it. So distinct.
Right there.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Monday morning. Hey, Rumble's down again. They're pissing us off. I don't know what's going on, but we're not going to be on Rumble today. So look us up on Facebook, please. Say hi.
And on YouTube and Twitter.
Are we still on YouTube?
Yeah.
Wow.
For now.
Unless,
Doug was on this morning.
That's
so who knows?
right. The jinx, the curse of Doug Blair. But we made it through it. Chris Cooper is going to join us at 10:05 today. Always love a visit from Chris Cooper. We're going to talk about taxes, keeping your money, tax-efficient strategies for life. And Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal and from the Heritage Foundation. He and Doug Blair did the old reporter switcheroony.
Yeah.
Is that okay? We go?
That's good.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to That's Crap. It's the game where we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. Here's the host of That's Crap, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Mosley. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Ladies.
That's over in New Jersey crowd.
They are really, what are we, in Wildwood, New Jersey? By the way, Wildwood, did we mention that the population of Wildwood is 5,000?
Yeah, you did.
And 100,000 people. And Ken, driving to Wildwood is not a walk in the park when nothing's going on, okay?
Yeah.
So the parkway must have been an absolute mess. Okay, so I lived at about exit 151 on the parkway. And you have to drive from 151 all the way to exit 4.
Oh, wow.
4B. and then you go into Wildwood, and then it's actually a little island. Wildwood's like a little island, so you got to go over the bridge to get there, and traffic must have been a mess. But 100,000 people withstood all the traffic, and supported Donald Trump. I'm so happy about that.
I know. I think that that's what's really out there. You cannot get an opinion and gather an opinion by what happened in 2020 because they keep saying, Vic, stop talking about 2020. That's back then, you election denier. But all of the things that are coming out right now are from 2020.
That's right.
So how can you not talk about it?
You're right. And you know what? With this crowd in Wildwood, New Jersey, in the same day, Joe Biden did a speech in a little auditorium in his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and there were more reporters there than supporters.
Amazing.
And it's a blue state. Like you'd expect 100,000 people in a red state,
sure,
like Texas or Florida or Missouri, but in New Jersey, you can't just throw this away. This is a big fact here that 100,000 people came out, and you can see Maury's Pier in the background. I think it's Maury's Pier because, like, you have the boardwalk that runs parallel with the ocean, and then perpendicular, you have these piers that stick out, and that's where all the rides and games and stuff are, And one of them is called Maury's Pier. This big gorilla on the sign walking in is Maury's Pier, and they have roller coasters and crazy rides that I don't do. So anyway, all right.
And I think it was interesting that you have this morning on the Today Show. They actually showed the crowd.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Shut your face.
No, they did. But I think they did it because Trump called them out last night. If you remember on Saturday night, I mean, he said, "Look, the cameras won't turn around and show you the crowd." Yeah. Well, I think they did it then.
So smart.
Yeah.
So look, we'll do it.
Yeah. Well, then he
and
won
aren't they stuck?
And he won.
They're stuck either way.
Right.
If they don't show it, see, I told you they weren't going to show the crowd. If they do show the crowd, wow, look at that crowd.
Right.
Unbelievable. All right, that's crap. Or as Jim said,
yeah,
we find out if it's the truth or if that's crap. Today, our contestant is Junior Biden. That's a funny name. Oh, it's not Junior Biden.
No, it's not. No.
Junior Biden campaign spokesperson. That's it. Michael Tyler is our contestant today, and his job is to try to make Joe Biden look good. Kenny, put 14 seconds on the clock. Good luck.
Or the work that this president has done to build an economy from day one that grows from the middle out and the bottom up. Wow. 15 million jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, as you pointed out, and doing all of that while doing the work of lowering costs for Americans.
Okay. There's that phrase again that I couldn't think of on Friday. The middle out and the bottom up. First of all, a phrase that makes no sense whatsoever. What does the middle out mean?
I don't know.
Bottom up, I get it. But when you...
I don't get that even. I don't get that so much. The bottom up.
So you don't get either one?
No, I don't.
I love that.
Bottom up.
Right. What does that mean?
The workers create the profit? I mean, I don't know.
You're right, Ken. It makes no sense. Because they can't say trickle down. That would be, they can't say that.
No.
But the thing is about this whole phrase about middle out and bottom up. If you own a store that sells gas stoves, right?
Right.
Or even, the fireplaces that are fake. They're not real fireplaces.
Yeah.
But you just click a switch. That's gas,
Yeah.
So if you're putting those people out of business, those are not the elite millionaires that Joe wants to pay their fair share. Those are middle-class Americans
right,
having a job selling gas stoves. And I guess it's middle out, bottom up. I don't know. I don't know what they mean by that.
Well, the bottom up, the point I'm making there is that you create profit by being an owner that builds the company and gathers the things that people will buy, the widgets. It's not the people that are from the bottom that are doing that. They're not. None of them are doing any of that. They're getting the results of the owner doing that.
Of course. And by the way, I'm sorry. Let's do this. Let's finish this up, and then we'll talk about something else. So, 15 million jobs. We've said it a million times. They didn't create 15 million jobs. They brought 15 million jobs back into the economy. And I'm not sure it's 15 million, by the way. Let's just start there. But Donald Trump created those jobs. Joe Biden lost them, and I was trying to get them back. So sorry, Junior Biden. Oh, sorry, Michael Tyler. That's crap. So, when we talk about what Joe Biden has done, what Donald Trump did when he was in office, and you look at the strategies, right? when Donald Trump had a lot of jobs, right? Unemployment was really low. Inflation, of course, another lie, by the way, by Biden on CNN. You want to give him proof? Go ahead, do it.
We just saw prices jump up here in the last 24 to 48 hours. A lot of stations raised their prices back up to about $3.69 to $3.75 a gallon.
Wow.
Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis at Gas Buddy. He tells us right now gas prices here in Michigan have gone up.
It'd be nice to find out what the heck's going on.
That last little few seconds was just a customer.
Yep. So Biden, he says the inflation when he took office was 9%. It was 1.4%, right? He wants people to, again, grow from the middle out and the bottom up, but yet people, blue collar worker people who have to go to work every day, get gas, can't afford it.
Right.
They're because when people start just getting $20,
yep,
they don't fill up the tank. They just get 20, whatever $20 gets. That's what they do.
Right.
And it's being harder and harder just to get to work because of Joe Biden. And so your middle out, bottom up, not working for me. All right, that's all the time we have for That's Crap.
This is Jim Modulin speaking for That's Crap, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman radio production.
And this is Vic Porcelli saying, please help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody. All right, speaking of pets, Sally Bones. Sally, our new dog, Sally.
Yeah.
She... because the cicadas are out. Okay, they're out.
I saw a couple on a tree yesterday.
The tree in our backyard was covered,
really,
with cicadas. Even my neighbor's fence, they were all on my neighbor's fence. So I'm like, oh God. So I was out in the yard with Sally, and she's eating them right off the tree, like she's picking strawberries.
Well, they're good for her.
Yeah, it looks gross. As long as it's good for her, I don't care. And I think she wants to get all trillion of them because she ate so many cicadas. And when you hear that crunching, it's like, I'm going to the back door. When you want to come in, just come in. But they're disgusting, and you can really hear them now, can't you?
Yeah, we're starting to hear them where we are.
Walk in your yard, and it's, oh my God. And it was funny when my wife and I were, because I was like, you can't believe this. Look at this. I made her come out and look at the tree. And we're standing there, and then we looked at, oh my God, they're on the fence. This is like how the horror movie starts, right?
Yeah.
All the cicadas on the fence. And
Like
then,
the Birds movie, the old Birds movie.
the cicadas. Except instead of birds, the cicadas.
Now, Rudy, what he'll do is he'll eat them, but he'll save the, he doesn't like the wings, I guess. So he'll bring the wings in the house.
Oh,
He'll
no.
have wings on the floor everywhere.
That is so funny. He's picky.
Very picky, but he is also a little, we did the deck. You know about the deck.
You've got a
Okay,
very big
everybody
deck.
knows about the deck,
Yeah.
okay? Well, now Rudy decides that he doesn't like it. I guess he likes it, but he wants to pee on it all.
Oh,
so now we
got
gotta
it.
lock him out. We gotta let him out, walk him down the steps, and then shut that gate.
Right. They'll
And
let him
then-
back on the
No,
deck.
he can't be on the deck for a while.
Isn't that funny? What's this? This is new.
Oh, I like this.
I shall pee on this. Okay. Let's get out of here. Yeah, I forgot he was coming up again. So, RFK, not what everybody thought, huh?
Not exactly, no.
He is for more things than we are against than anybody wanted to lead us to believe.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And especially like conservatives and Republicans saying, well, we can give RFK a shot.
We're going to start hearing and seeing a lot more of JFK Jr. and the things that he's actually believes in.
You mean RFK Jr., right?
RFK Jr.
Whew, scared me there.
Oh, JFK.
I thought you were QAnon and me.
No,
with the
no,
JFK
no,
Jr.
RFK.
Just a misspeak, everybody, okay?
Sorry.
Ken's not crazy QAnon.
No.
But we'll hear about RFK and some things you may not believe that he's for. Okay? That's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
That might be the most favorite thing that you play of mine. Oh my gosh. All right. Listen, Chris Cooper's coming in right after 10 o'clock. We'll talk to him a little bit about taxes because taxes, prior to 1913, there were no taxes. And we still managed to survive. The government still managed to survive. Charities still got money. I heard an astounding, and make sure I said that right, astounding number of people who, veterans who are not being taken care of, homeless veterans, and the disparaging of money between stuff that they spend money on, like illegal immigrants, and nothing for the homeless veterans. Sorry. So taxes, right? We have to make sure our tax money isn't tax money, but our money, right? And when you talk about that, the first name that should come to mind is Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. He has tax-efficient strategies for you that will help you keep money in your pocket. They exist right now, and it's just a matter of finding out how to do it. And if you want to start that process, go get a book called The CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. And of course, with long-term care, we've talked about that a lot. It's very expensive and very stressful. Chris Cooper can help you. So get the serenity that you deserve, and get Chris's book right now. You can get it at serenityltc.com. That's serenityltc.com. Serenity now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advisory services offered through Alphi LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Serenity now! Columbo and Katie.
To IP reform or not to IP reform? That is the question in Missouri as we start the week, and we'll get you the latest on Monday. Plus, we'll talk to Virginia Kruta and Rob Carter.
Weekdays at 2 on NewstalkSTL.
Feel the sizzling heat of summer savings at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Rev up your summer with 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on a John Deere compact tractor. You can purchase a 1 Series tractor for less than $10 a day. It's time to elevate your equipment game with a hard-working, versatile tractor. Don't let this sizzling hot deal on compact tractors slip away. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/31/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Whoosh.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Someday some of the kids from the neighborhood carried my mother's groceries all the way home. You know why? It was out of respect.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
But so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved,
even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Wow.
Okay.
So just so you know what you heard there. Murder's okay.
If a baby is right there at just a skin away from you, then that means that they can terminate it, kill it, right before it's supposed to come out, right then. If it was in the actually birthing room, they could kill it, according to him.
So what's the difference between that and just shooting somebody in the head?
There's no difference.
In the middle of the street.
That's a live, breathing human being that once out of the womb. If you took that person out of the womb right then, They would be living on their own, and you're killing them. That he wants to pass legislation to allow murder.
I'm astounded that nobody on the left, I mean, obviously people on the right see this. People
Right.
listen to this show understand it. It's murder. It's no different than murder. And they say that's just fine. The most innocent of all lives, they pick on, right?
Yeah.
It's like water. We talk about water finding the path of least resistance.
Yes,
You
yes.
know? So sure, a baby just born seconds ago, we're going to kill. And that's not abortion. That's murder.
And the disdain that they have for babies continues if they survive. If they become children, then what do they want to do with them?
Right.
They want to indoctrinate them. They want to make sure that they're completely mentally destroyed by the time they're 18 years old. Why though?
Or just shoot them.
Or just shoot them, yeah.
Because what's the difference? I just don't see what the difference is.
I don't either.
Killing a baby that's seconds old or 13 years old when you really want to shoot them, right? When they're teenagers.
Right. And then you have pedophiles that are being released in California, Vic. We've talked about this, where there's actually trying to pass legislation where it's okay for an adult to have sex with a 10-year-old. Okay? I mean, this is the left. This is what the left wants to do. And then they're saying, oh, but you people, you conservatives, you're going to love RFK Jr. because he is pretty much all about you. Well, that's just one example. There are many more.
I think there's one thing that attracted people to RFK Jr., and that was his opposition to the vaccines, and that's not enough. You have to be opposed to vaccines, and you also have to be opposed to keep people's guns away. You have to be opposed to abortion. That's murder, like we're talking about here, right? And by the way, have you ever noticed that women who are for abortion, they call themselves pro-choice?
Yeah.
But they never choose adoption.
Right.
So don't call yourself pro-choice.
No,
Just say
you're
baby killer.
pro-death.
Just say baby killer. That's all you got to say.
And if we can go down a list of RFK Jr. stuff real quick, we could actually say that number one, he loves AOC and the new Green Deal, whatever that might be. The $1.7 trillion for the Inflation Production Act that contributed to the new Green Deal. He was all about. He loves Bernie Sanders. He voted for Bernie Sanders, supports Bernie Sanders.
So how does any conservative think that's a good idea to vote for him?
I don't get it. I mean, I really don't.
Listen, right now, and people say this every election, this truly is the most important election in our lifetimes, okay? If we don't vote the right way, and when I say right, I mean the right, we could lose our constitutional republic because our rights are being taken away every day. We just had a conversation, you and I, about gas stoves. It should be, talk about pro-choice. I'm pro-choice, and I choose a gas stove.
Let's just do a scenario real quick. Joe Biden's elected president of the United States again.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I mean, from the word go, remember what he did the very first day, the 93 different executive orders
yeah.
that he cut, but the energy, he destroyed America's energy independence, basically, in just that one day. The first day that he's reelected, he's going to start moving toward digital currency, which he'll have complete control over your currency. If he doesn't like the way you're voting, and I'm not kidding about this, if he finds out that you're on social media and everything, they're going to combine the two. They're going to have these relationships with social media that we won't be able to change ever again. He'll be able to see, Vic, how you feel and how I feel on social media, and he'll say, hey, bank, we need to limit something on this person's account, and he'll be able to get away with it.
And they'll freeze your account. They won't allow you to get to your own money. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly right, Vic. And if you get on, for example, we had a person on Peggy Ward for gas stoves, okay? He'll say, we don't want gas stoves anymore. You will not be allowed to have a gas stove any longer. He'll push that EV thing again and push it to the point to where we will have to have EVs. And who cares if you can't drive half the time? It doesn't matter to him.
I want to know when, if ever, people like AOC, Al Gore, Jennifer Granholm, Joe Biden are ever accountable for all this Green New Deal stuff, that they're going to, because one day we're all going to realize when everybody has EVs, and then when you have to charge them up with stations, charging stations that are run by coal, and you've closed all the coal mines,
right.
and that they're going to, well, we can't charge your car because You can't oops that for 300 million people.
And conservatives, Vic, we are conservatives. That actually plays right into conserving the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually the people who originally wanted to do I don't want to say we were with the original environmentalists, okay? Where we want to do things rationally. For example, if there became a new plasma energy where it was cheap, or hydro energy where it was nuclear energy that we could possibly use again. I mean, then you're talking about, okay, then if you had a viable battery system in a car that can go 900 miles, hey, you know what? I'm all for it. I am all for it.
All right. Another story in the news yesterday, and it was funny how I learned about this because I was out most of the day yesterday, and I looked on Twitter on what was trending, and the name Steve Buscemi was trending.
Yeah.
And whenever I see anybody's name trending, did they die? I hate
right there.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so stupid and so maudlin. But I was like, oh, don't tell me Steve Buscemi died. And I click on it, and it turns out he was punched in the face, like we see so many videos in New York City especially, but everywhere, but in New York City, where somebody just walks up to somebody and punches them in the face for no reason whatsoever. Well, that happened to Steve Buscemi. He was in the hospital. He's going to be fine, but there was a lot of swelling in his face and everything. And there is a huge picture of this guy on surveillance that did this.
He looks like a monster. He looks huge
and built.
Yeah.
And he picks on the littlest guy he could find, Steve
Right.
Buscemi, path of least resistance, right? He's
There
not
you
going to hit Sylvester Stallone or somebody, who's big and can fight back. Nope. Steve Buscemi. So I want to remind everybody that Steve Buscemi on 9/11, 2001, went back to his fire station where he worked and volunteered to help people during the September 11th attacks.
Wow.
Anybody else in Hollywood do that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was a firefighter. He went immediately right to his exact station and said, give me the jacket, give me the hat. What do I do? How can I help? How many people do that? How many people in Hollywood did that, by the way?
Oh,
nobody. You can say it.
No,
You can say it. Say it.
No, they talk. They all talk, but they don't do anything.
Right. So anyway, we'll see about if they catch this guy. And, to do me a favor, when somebody trends on Twitter for something like this, can you just tell me the story first before all the memes? What I'm going to do if I find a person that hit Steve Buscemi and it's some meme of somebody punching somebody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just get to the point. What happened? It took me 15 stories to scroll through before I found out exactly what happened.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, Rumble's back up. We're going to have a word with Dan Bongino. Call him up.
Yeah.
Call Bongino. Say, hey, what's the story
Come
with
on,
your
Dan.
Rumble thing here, man?
I think it's growing pains. I think I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah,
but it's just inform us. Hey, how about the people that that use it every day and spread the message? Let us know what's going on.
How about people that work at the station that you're on from 11 till 2? How about that?
Right.
How about those people?
Just that. How about that? Just to start there.
So let's start with Facebook, and then because people are just catching up with that Rumble's up, and the comments are coming in there, but Facebook is pretty okay. First thing, Don says, "What's up with Rumble?" Okay, it's fixed, Don. Okay. Good morning, you bunch of freedom-loving Vic heads. My friend Grant. Tom says, "Good Monday morning. Good morning, Vic heads." Kenny's friend Randy, hearts and flags, love it.
Hello, Randy.
And then Don says, "Still no Rumble." My God, Don.
Sorry, Don.
It's up now. Okay, go over there and say hi over there now. GMVH, and I love this. America, vote for Trump. He is our only hope. And you know what? I want to also just expand on that a little bit. Donald Trump is our only choice right now.
Yeah.
He's our only hope to save this country. And if you're a never Trumper, keep it to yourself for a while, because you're not doing anybody any good bashing Donald Trump when he is our only hope.
You're not doing yourself any good. That's for sure.
And I'm talking about people on our side. I mean, people on the left will always bash Donald Trump. But people on our side, the good guys, the right, the conservatives, lay off Donald Trump. He's our only hope. And I know that sounds drastic, but it's true.
But they're never going to do it, especially people like the Lincoln Project. You know, the founder John Weaver. You can go into a bunch of stories about him, but I won't do it right now. But the whole Lincoln Project are a bunch of never Trumpers.
You're right.
They hate him, and I don't get it. But you know.
Don't make us get out the never Trumper spray. Okay?
Oh, no.
We have anti-never Trumper spray right here in the studio, and we will use it if we have to, because once again, I will say Donald Trump is our only choice. So Ken just threw me the here we go. Anti-never, that's an official, that's how they sell it in the store, just like that. All right, Ken, let's spray the studio. Make sure there's no. Okay. I can't. All right. Charles Grodicke.
Yeah.
Good morning from Jeffco. He's joining us sometime soon, isn't he?
Yes.
All right, now listen, this is a long one, but this is an important one. Jacqueline, who first time I'm seeing her in the chat box, welcome aboard, probably maybe from the Soros station. Apparently, RFK Jr. has walked back his earlier statement about allowing abortion up to full term.
Well, okay, and I get it, but when they say it, that initial response is what they probably truly believe. I mean, you can walk back anything.
What we played there at the beginning?
Yeah.
When was that interview?
That was recent.
Okay, so, but I think this person's trying to make a point, and let's give her the full thing.
Oh, yeah.
It seems to me he must not understand what full term means. I think whatever appeal he may have briefly had for conservatives has been lost. True colors are starting to show. And I think that was the message we were trying to get to.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, he was against vaccines. You can't put all your eggs in the vaccine basket, you know?
No.
I mean, there's plenty of people who are against vaccines who I wouldn't vote for.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So when you look at RFK Jr., he's a Kennedy. Okay, start there.
Yeah.
He's a Democrat, so he's not fully informed, and he wants to kill a baby right up to the moment of birth, and that is just disgusting.
Yeah.
The leaders of all the countries will always use the combustion engines while forcing the EV junk on us.
Oh, that's so true.
Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag, and that's it. America, no fair election.
No peace.
No fair election.
No peace.
Okay, Don, you got your. Don goes, finally. God.
Thanks, Don, for listening.
Love you, Don. Love you, baby. You have to push EVs because they lost their charge. I know it's fixed. I'm here and hello. Morning. And so does RFK punch babies instead of kiss them? Shaking hands and punching babies.
Right in the face.
Shaking hands and killing babies. All right. Chris Cooper is going to join us right after the top of the hour, and we're going to talk a little bit about taxes. You know, he asked me last time he was in about probate, if I knew what it was. And I said, yeah, mine's enlarged. It makes me pee a lot. So I think I had the wrong word.
I think you had the wrong
word. So we'll see
there.
if he corrects us on that. Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal comes by at 10:41. He and Doug Blair did the News Talk STL correspondent switcheroony. So let's do some news with townhall.com. On 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
It's Tony Colombo for the Cleaning Pros at Zero Res. Zero Res knows there's nothing more important than the health of your family, and the health of your home has a direct impact on that, and that's why they have this great offer for the month of May. Book a cleaning now and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Keep your home clean and healthy with the pros at Zero Res. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at INHSTL.com. That's INHSTL.com.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill, and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour at townhall.com. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Biden is facing blowback on his threat to stop sending certain weapons to Israel if it invades the city of Rafah, where the Hamas terrorist group continues to hold civilians as human shields. Here's White House correspondent Greg Cluxton.
The president's ultimatum was not well received by Israel, including from former ambassador to the United States, Dr. Michael Oren.
Potentially disastrous, extremely dangerous, unfair.
But at the White House, National Security spokesman John Kirby insisted on continued support from the U.S.
The arguments that somehow we're walking away from Israel fly in the face of the facts.
Meanwhile, more than 24 House Democrats sent the White House a letter criticizing the Biden administration's withholding of weapons shipments to Israel. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Israel's leaders commemorated Memorial Day today, a usually somber holiday that this year was almost entirely absorbed by the ongoing war in Gaza. Senator Lindsey Graham criticizing President Biden for threatening to withhold the weapons.
To abandon Israel under these circumstances would be outrageous.
Graham appearing on NBC's Meet the Press. Karen Chamis reports the weekend brought devastating floods to parts of Afghanistan.
Flash floods in northern Afghanistan have left hundreds dead and hundreds more missing. The UN Food Agency has estimated that unusually heavy seasonal rains in Afghanistan have left more than 300 people dead. Thousands of houses have been destroyed, most of them in the northern provinces of Baghlan, which bore the brunt of the deluges. The floods hit as Afghanistan is still reeling from a string of earthquakes at the beginning of the year, as well as severe flooding in March. Aid group Save the Children said about 600,000 people, half of them children, live in the 5 districts in Baghlan that have been severely impacted by the floods. I'm Karen Chamas.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
West Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-256-5533. That's 800-256-5533. 800-256-5533.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A slow-moving area of low pressure will take a couple of days to make its way across Missouri and Illinois. So for us, periods of rain and thunderstorms today and tomorrow. Up to about 75 this afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy tonight, down to 63. We'll have on and off rain with some drizzle and fog in between. And for tomorrow, once again, scattered rain and a few rumbles of thunder. Tuesday's high 73. We'll catch a dry break on Wednesday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, welcome home to 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That guy there with the big deck is
Stop.
You do. You built a big deck.
It was a big build.
I'm impressed with you, man. I can't build a small deck. I can't build a sandwich. Bread, meat, bread. I'm working on it. Bread, then the meat, then the bread on the bottom, right?
Yeah, and lettuce and
I'm
stuff.
Oh, see? I can't
Like-
even build a
okay.
sandwich. So that's Ken Williams. And I forgot to say something about that massive rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. Now, keep in mind, again, Wildwood was where me and my friends went every year. Okay. They don't call it Wildwood for nothing.
Oh, okay.
And so a town that has a population of 5,000 people drew 100,000 people for a Donald Trump rally in the bluest of blue states, they say, New Jersey. And you know who spoke on the stage for Donald Trump?
Who?
The greatest linebacker in the history of the New York Giants.
Lawrence Taylor.
I was going to say Lawrence Taylor, but Ken had to throw that in there instead.
I'm sorry.
Ken, Thunder Stealer.
What you do.
I was about to say that, so.
You would have got it then. You would have got Thunder Stealer.
Yeah.
I was about to say Thunder Stealer before you played the message. Then I would have been the Thunder Stealer.
Right. Double Thunder Stealer. But what he said was, he goes, I was a Democrat my whole life until I met this man here.
Wow.
And Trump was standing
That's
right.
powerful.
That is powerful. And trust me, people still love Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
In New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Man, he wasn't a very big guy as linebacker. I remember Dick Butkus was kind of almost fat, big, stocky.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was not.
No.
And he would kill people.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one who set a standard that they live by today.
Yeah. All right. Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management is here. But before we get to Chris, just so he knows, in case, you know somebody who can use another, you're here to support our other sponsors, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So here's one from our, not our newest sponsor, but a new product from one of our faithful sponsors, Mike Lindell.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you the best price ever on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets. If you're on the front line fighting Hamas, you need the best sleep possible on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets, made from the finest cotton in the world, grown only in a region between the Golan Heights, the Dead Sea, and the West Bank. My Gaza Dream Bed sheets will get you the great night's sleep you need to kill Hamas terrorists. Order now and get a pair of my pillow slippers to sneak up on those Hamas terrorists. Use the number on your screen and use the promo code Shalom. Please order now.
So there you go.
Nice.
If you're a Hamas killer, you need to get a good night's sleep.
I mean, I just want to know the thread count, though, before I purchase.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
That
that
could
was
be
left
important.
out.
Gaza thread count.
Gaza thread count. All right, Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Good to
Real
see
good.
you.
Yeah, good to be here.
Last time we spoke, I confused probate with prostate. So
It's very common. You know,
I don't know how common.
The day that happened, you were like, isn't it funny how one letter can change the whole thing? It's really funny. So we know that long-term care, you help people with long-term care, right? Your book is called a CPA's Guide to Long-Term
to Tax-Free Strategies
for Long-Term Care.
Yeah.
And but tax efficient strategies goes further than long-term care. That's what I'm trying to say.
It absolutely does, right? So one of the things I always say, Vic, right? 3 people we're going to leave our monies to at the end of things, right? It's going to be long-term care, right? A community, because we didn't plan for or think about that potential risk in our financial life. The government through taxation, because we didn't think about and plan for the impacts of that. Or finally, kids or a charity of choice. right? And all we want to make sure we do with good estate planning strategies is make sure we put our children and our beneficiaries of choice first.
Right. No,
Pretty easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, scratch government right off the.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there's some good ones out there, right? Let's give it to the good ones, not the whole slush fund that we reelect every 4 years.
Yeah, no kidding. So let me ask you this question, because a lot of people will say, I'm sure to you, it's too late. I waited too long. I'm too old now, and there's nothing that can help me. What would you say to that
There is
person?
always something we can do to do something different, right? If we have whatever that concern is, we can figure it out. And today is when it starts, right? It starts today, and then we figure out what makes sense to do tomorrow. And there are always strategies that can help us look better in the future.
So if somebody has read your book, and I urge you to get the book and find out about it and the things that are in there. This is what I tell people to do. Get the book, get acquainted with Chris,
sure,
and then give him a call and really get things moving. So the things that they learn in the book, you can also probably use those things that you learn in just saving money and taxes, right?
Yeah. So in that book, we're going to talk about long-term care planning and options, right? And there's some things in there, governmental benefits that are very important if we can maximize them, right? Medicaid, and then, some VA benefits and things like that. But ultimately, most of the time where we see people, struggle with is how to, privately pay in the most efficient way possible. And so the book comes through and talks through some of those kinds of things as well. We always talk about taxes because that's ultimately the biggest risk I believe we have in our financial future. So, quick sample of the room here, right? There's 3 of us in here. Where are taxes going in the future, up or down? Where? Up or down?
Oh, well, where?
Where are they going? Are taxes going up or are taxes going
they're going
down?
up.
Yeah, they're going up. I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see a way around that. And I'll be honest, I don't think no matter who's elected in November, that's going to change. So we're at that point right now where we basically spend our money that we bring in through taxation on the basic necessities of Social Security and Medicaid. That's where we are. So I don't care who's going to get elected. Taxes probably have to go up.
Well, I know one thing for sure, that if Biden is elected again, he's going to end Trump's tax reduction.
Absolutely. And that's going to expire if Congress just sits there and does nothing. So if that does happen and Congress does have the still majority on the Republican side, it doesn't matter because inaction is going to automatically create that rollback to where we were prior to 2018.
All right. So I just have a question about what you said there. So you said no matter who's elected, taxes will probably go up. But let's go back to the Trump tax cuts.
Yep.
Right? In that case, taxes went down.
They did go down. So since 2018, we have been in a very favorable tax position, historically speaking. If we look at where we are as a country, they have not been this low. And I'm going to say ever, but it's been a long time. And we've seen skyrocketing taxes in the World War II areas where the tax rate, highest marginal, was like 94%.
How do you live? I'm honestly, I know it's a stupid, ignorant question. How do you live with 1% of what you actually make?
So, remember when Reagan said, he was an actor, right? And when he was an actor, he said he didn't want to make more than 2 movies a year because he would make less money if he made the third movie because his taxes would go up. Now, that's not really how it works, right? You still get the take home for that third movie. You just take home less of what you could. So, marginal tax rates have been around for a while, but your time is important, and we want to make sure we make the most of it.
All right, another ignorant question. Sorry,
I love ignorant questions. It's okay.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's why I come on here every month for my ignorant questions.
Man. So how did the government exist before 1913 when there were no taxes?
Well, so you still had the.
And why can't we do it now?
Why can't we do it now? Well, so did we have Medicare?
I'm going to say no.
We did not. Okay. Did we have Medicaid? Did we have Social Security?
Mm.
Did we have that infrastructure? Something's got to pay for that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to have some of that infrastructure, and we do. We want that, right? We want to be able to defend our nation. We'd like to say we could defend our southern border, for example. That's got to come from somewhere, right? So taxes are going to help fund the things that we need, But that doesn't mean I've never met a single person that says, you know what, I'm paying my fair share right now and I'm good. Just go ahead and raise my taxes a little bit more. Have you ever met that person?
I've never said that.
I haven't yet.
Okay.
No,
Yeah. I don't think they exist.
No.
Feel free to give us a call if you are one of these people.
Yeah.
But, you know, that just doesn't exist. So we always want to think about ways we can reduce our tax bill. A lot of people think about it in terms of what we're paying today. I think about it in terms of what we're paying in the future, what our risk is long term, and ultimately what our wishes are, because what our risk is for our wishes, because we want our monies to go in the way we want them to today, into the future, and even after we pass, because our goals do outlive us.
Right. And again, you want to leave your money to your kids, not to the government.
Not to the government. That's right.
So you have an event coming up. Let's talk about that. We're talking to Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management.
So what is today? We're still in May. So I have a couple of events coming up now on estate planning. So those are at the Walnut Grill out in O'Fallon. You can reach us on our website for more information, serenitywealthnow.com. And then in June, we're doing something I'm really excited about, and it is going to be a topic that is just going to be really fun to talk about, which is how is the upcoming election going to impact our financial future?
So here's the hard part, Chris. You know, save money. Okay, I just have enough money for, you know, mortgage, gas, food, and medicine.
Yeah.
Where do I find money to put away? And then, like Ken said, if Biden gets reelected, he's going to raise taxes even more. Where do we find that money?
Only if you're making over 400,000.
Oh, that's right.
You got to remember.
I'm so sorry.
You know, you leave out these details. You know, that was sarcasm.
I hope everybody got it. We got a smart audience.
Good.
Audience smarter than
they
the
got
host.
it.
Yeah. So it usually starts there, but it never ends there, right? And I loved your "That's Crap" segment because you were talking about inflation, and that this is a real problem, and it is not getting better. And the definition of better is when you have 9% getting better and going down to 3%. The reason the Fed has not lowered interest rates anymore is simply because of the inflation situation we're in. They have to see results in order to make that next rate cut.
And inflation itself is a tax. I mean, we're being taxed every single day. We're losing thousands of dollars a month as a family.
One of those things we can't control necessarily, right, is inflation, and then unfortunately taxes. The government is a big player in those things, and they impact our financial future without our ability to, you know, even if we're saving or not saving, it doesn't matter. Those things we have to think about and see if we can do some things to make ourselves a little bit better.
So, you know, when Joe Biden goes on with CNN and says, you know, when I took office, inflation was 9%. That's not true.
No, that was a "That's Crap," wasn't it? I think that was a "That's Crap."
That was.
Yeah, that was.
I think last week. Well,
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
listener.
yeah,
I like this guy. But I mean, clearly, do people who, the person I just mentioned, mortgage, gas, medicine, food, listens to that and says, "Oh, I didn't realize that when he took office it was 9%." They got to remember.
I would hope so. And
I
most
think
of the
they
people
do.
that I talk to know where we are from a.
Then why
from a
would he do
financial
it? I guess is my
perspective.
question. Why?
Who, Joe Biden?
Yeah. Why? Even
Well, we know
his
why
side of
he
the
would.
fence doesn't believe it.
We know why he's doing it, because he has to sell a narrative that's gonna, you know, try to win him an election here.
And how often do we call them on the left fascists? They are, and they're actually going by the playbook that they used to go by. Say it enough, and it becomes truth.
Yeah. Now, and I'm not going to give him any credit for this, but I will say that when you shut down a world economy for years because of a pandemic type of situation, there are going to be some financial consequences associated with that. We had no inflation for a very long period of time, including during the Trump era and before that even, really. There was not much inflation. So then you shut down the world economy for a couple of years. Well, of course, there's going to be consequences. We had historically low interest rates. They probably didn't react quick enough to increase those, knowing that inflation was potentially on the horizon, but you also, at the same point in time, had to keep some kind of economic growth going. So it was a tough situation.
How do you do that? So many businesses in my neighborhood are gone and are never coming back.
Yep.
And I always go, and this is, I mean, if you want to talk about it, fine. If not, you don't have to. But accountability, right? Accountability it's not even a word anymore, right? We talked about accountability for all the energy, right? Al Gore, AOC, Jennifer Granholm Biden. When are they accountable for that? But then when is Fauci and that whole medical crew accountable for the people who died because they wouldn't let them take ivermectin?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The businesses that closed and will never reopen. I mean, where's the accountability?
Yeah, and all that talk has just kind of gone.
It's
kind of strange, isn't it?
Fauci skated, man. He lied to Congress.
And also during that time, if you remember, Donald Trump had 3 years under our belt of him helping us. Actually, we were put in a much better position by the time the pandemic hit. Imagine if Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, God forbid, would have been president, then we would have been in worse shape. If you remember what Obama put us through, it would have been even worse by the time the pandemic hit. Luckily, Trump was in office, and it didn't make the impact as bad, but it was bad. You know, it was bad overall.
That's what happens when that was a tough situation, but we were looking at 10 to 20% tax cuts, and it was great with the 2018 tax cuts. And I do think that those are likely to sunset back in 2025.
Yeah. So you mentioned, where we'd be if Hillary Clinton was elected, we'd all be dead. Half, at least us deplorables.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
All right. So I want to talk to you about something that. No. So was it you that took the? No. Jerry Seinfeld spoke at Duke University. Jerry Seinfeld, in case nobody knows, is Jewish. Okay. And some people walked out on him because he is Jewish. I mean, doesn't this bother you?
It does seem a little strange because aren't people like protesting and all that kind of stuff over anti-Semitism and all kinds of other things right now? And so what was his thought process? What was the reasoning for this? I hadn't heard.
Because he's Jewish. They're anti-Jewish. They're pro-Palestinian. Some of them had Palestinian garb on, and they walked out on him. And I'm like, and here's a funny thing about how people are in this country. Jerry Seinfeld, everybody loved Jerry Seinfeld for 100 years, right? Then he came out and he said, this woke stuff is ruining comedy, and he is right.
Yeah, he is right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the quote I've recently read.
But all these liberals who love Jerry Seinfeld, now they don't like him because he said, oh, the woke stuff is killing comedy. And I just, and now they've gone as far as walking out when he does a commencement speech.
Well, remember the AI stuff, right? So the AI is supposed to be all this really cool thing that's going to save people's times and all this stuff. You look at what's in the description behind the AI, there is actual things that are like kind of woke baked into it.
Right.
So
if the AI is trained under a woke mentality, it's going to be woke.
That's right.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I fear for, comedians, they can't go out there and say what they want to say because they're afraid that they'll make the left mad.
Which is hard. We learn through laughter. We learn by being able to be honest and transparent and have some fun. And that's what I like to do. I like to talk about things that are not easy to talk about. But when I do my workshops, it's not boring. We're going to talk about some, historically boring stuff. But I'm going to get up there and we're going to talk for an hour about taxes. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to go pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun because that's what matters to people. I'm going to throw some jokes out there.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. And if we can't joke, I don't know.
That's the difference, man.
It's a problem.
When you hear, we're going to talk about, it's going to be so boring.
But saving money is fun.
Saving money is fun. Chris Cooper is fun. What he's saying is important. And you'll learn without even realizing it because you're having fun at the same time.
It's possible, folks. It is.
All right. Walnut Grill in O'Fallon in May and June, same place?
June will be Stone Summit.
Summit.
We'll come back on and talk a little bit more about that one too beforehand.
The book is called A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. Get that from Chris. Read that, get acquainted with them, then give them a call or go to serenityltc.com. Serenity now. Great to see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, guys.
It just exasperates me. It just exasperates me sometimes how people are supposed to live their lives when everybody's against them. The middle class.
Well, the government needs to leave us the F alone.
Oh, look at you.
Don't
you cuss on this here radio.
I know.
All right. Lots to do today, including Rob Bluey from the Daily Signal. End up show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Investment advisory services offered through Alphi LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks.
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Here's your chance to help build our community while building your career. This is Officer Jacob Boomgarden with the Springfield, Missouri Police Department. Becoming a police officer is one of the best decisions I've ever made. Every single day, I have a chance to impact someone's life in a positive way. When my shift ends, I know I've made a difference. And you can too. Our next training academy starts soon. Get more information at gospd.com. That's gospd.com. Brought to you by the Springfield, Missouri Police Department.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking with Randy Tobler, Dr. Randy Tobler.
I think that it's gotten to the point where everyone has so much dirty laundry, where everyone just sort of covers and they don't want to really expose. They don't want to dig too deep. I won't get too close to your armpits and smell them if you don't get too close to mine, to put it in a very crude way. But I think that makes the point.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point.
While freedom has long been a critical feature of the American experiment, the extent to which we can actually lay claim to it has been called into serious question in recent years. Repeatedly, we've seen instances of government overreach, most notably during the COVID pandemic, when lockdowns and mandates were all the rage and censorship was sexy, at least in the eyes of some. There was a stretch of time where everything felt constricted and subdued, and a future featuring freedom seemed elusive. That cloud has lifted some, but it still feels as though it's lurking in the background. This past weekend, I was witness to some reassuring signs that America is indeed still a free country. I had the pleasure of attending my daughter's college graduation. In addition to being an enjoyable celebration of her accomplishments, two things really stood out to me. One, there wasn't a masked face to be found. Not at the ceremony in a crowded arena, not in the grocery store or restaurants, not in the bars. And two, listening to live music on Saturday, while the crowd was lively throughout, it was at its liveliest when the band played Toby Keith's Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. A bar full of celebrating, drinking, flirting 20-somethings jumped up and down and shouted the lyrics at the top of their lungs. Times may be tough, and it may feel like we're faltering, but most of the kids are all right. And something tells me we will be too.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
What new chaos and crises did Joe Biden start over the weekend? We'll discuss at 4:25 with former U.S. Senator Jim Talent. Red State Headlines at 5:25 with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Bush. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
Inflation was actually 1.4% when Biden was sworn in, peaking at 9.1% in June 2022. It has since come down to 3.5%, preventing a further drop housing costs. In New York City, one survey found rent is rising 7 times faster than wages. In California, a condo in West Hollywood just sold for a record-smashing $24 million. Food costs also playing a role. Grocery prices are up 26% since 2019. And fast food prices are up 33%. Many consumers saying enough is enough.
I don't mean to be broke, but for an 8-count mini and a lemonade, $14?
I joked that this was fine dining now because I might as well go at a sit-down restaurant and be served if I'm going to pay those type of prices.
So last week, Ken, you said something that was so brilliant. I forget who we were talking to, but you said, yeah, fast food has become a luxury item.
Yeah.
Right? Fast food used to be quick, fast, cheap food. And now it's ridiculous how much it is. You can't feed a family of 4 at McDonald's for less than $80.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this morning on one of the TV shows, I was listening to it, and they were talking about how McDonald's is coming around. They're saying McDonald's hears you, and they're going to have now the $5 menu and people are all excited, like, oh my God, this is amazing, $5 menu. Vic, everything's gonna be smaller. The burger's gonna be smaller. You get 4 of the chicken nuggets instead of 8.
Right.
I mean, it's just everything's gonna be smaller, and they didn't do it to help the consumer. They did it because they're losing a lot of money.
So, and what they're talking about is not quarter pounders and not Big Macs. They're talking about just the single burger.
Well, actually, they showed a double burger, but if you just seen the patties, I'm talking about these patties are so thin you might as well paint them on the bread.
Not the quarter pounder size of meat.
They're just not. They're just not.
So I'm glad you brought this up because I saw the same thing. And everybody right now, Today's Show, all these people saying fast food prices are so high, are the same people that said, yeah, we should pay these people $20 an hour.
Yes.
So the people that caused the prices going up are the one bitching that the prices are going up, when if they left everything alone and left the salaries where they were, we wouldn't be paying this much for a hamburger.
Now think about that for a second. So they're not going to acknowledge the fact that $20 an hour is really hurting them. And the corporations, they don't care how they get their money, but they're going to get their money. So if this $5 deal thing doesn't work, and people, once people get out of the habit of going to fast food, they're going to stay out of the habit.
Yeah,
they're going to recreate their own lifestyle by going to the grocery store and buying their own food.
Right.
If that happens, Vic, guess what else is going to happen? The corporations that do this fast food thing, they're going to completely automate, throw all the people out, and then prices will eventually go back down, and they'll have to kind of start over and get people back in the mood to go into a fast food restaurant. But I'm telling you right now, this is a vicious cycle that we're not even completed with yet.
How much do you think in fast foods is automated in percentages? Just take a guess. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I would say probably right now, like 25%.
That's a lot. I think that's a lot.
Yeah.
Compared to 0% 10 years ago when you always talk to a person behind the counter.
Well, the kiosk, I mean, when we go out of town, okay, this is when we go see my daughter in Kentucky or Raleigh, go on vacation. We will go to maybe a McDonald's or something
Absolutely,
like that.
love it.
It has a kiosk, right? And you go to the kiosk, you type in everything you want, and you turn around and you get in line, and you walk up and they say your name, and you say, that's me, and here you pay. And they literally, I mean, the only difference is they take your money, but you could have shoved that money anywhere. You could have taken the card and put it in, and it would have been no person involved at all.
Right. Well, I guess cash is the only way. Well, no, you could put in the supermarket if you want to do self checkout. You can do that with cash. Just slide it in the thing, and change comes out.
Yeah.
So you really don't need a human to do anything, including cook the burgers or give you your change.
Well, that's the next step, because if you remember in Utah, they do have 100% automated. I don't remember the company, but I think it might have been McDonald's. But it was 100% automated. Everything, the food people were walking out saying it was great, loved it. So there we are. I mean, if they want to keep pushing that $20 thing and all that,
it's people like on the Today Show that push the $20. Oh, these poor people need to be paid $20 an hour. And they're like, oh, you poor people, you got to pay $20 for a burger. Well, which way do you want it?
Right, exactly right. I was trying to tell my daughter, she's going to be a junior next year at Raleigh, and we were talking about this yesterday. And I said, Abby, do you remember when you started working at the restaurant? This was an entry-level job for you. This was one to get money so you could actually go back to school. This was a whole process for you. You knew, I mean, you were the grunt. You worked hard. She worked so many hours, Vic. And I said, this is the payoff for you. You get to go to college now, and you're paying on a work study. She's paying for it herself.
Oh, wow.
And we're helping as much as we can, of course. But then the payoff is she's going to get a higher paying job once she gets out. That's what these jobs are supposed to be for. But now everybody's saying, no, I need to provide for my family with this job.
And how does the media look at that? Well, how can a person support their family on this kind of, maybe not even okay, yes, the media, but Democratic senators, how are people supposed to feed their family and raise a family when they're working at McDonald's? You're not supposed to raise a family working at McDonald's. Like you said, it's a job when you're 16, 17 years old, and then you go to college, and then you get a real job.
Yeah, management.
God.
Now I know McDonald management. I know actually a couple of people who work there. They make good money. But that's, again, even if you start at McDonald's, you're not going to start in a management position. You work your way up. Well, what they're saying is, no. I want to be able to flip fries. And I mean, turn over those fries for $20 an hour.
Right.
That's just not right to me.
Just not right. And what's really funny is the way the economy has been since COVID, when you can't get people to work, and I'm not, okay, I'm just saying this. A lot of people, kids, they don't feel like they should get a job. They should just be influencers on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when you get out there and you work, whatever the job is, you do it the way you're supposed to do it. You be the best. My wife always says to my kids, even if you're a burger flipper, you be the best burger flipper ever there was. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then they'll put you into a training program to become management.
Right. And that's exactly what you were talking about. If you work at McDonald's, don't let your whole life be, do you want fries with that? I hate to use that phrase,
but it's true.
Work your way into management. So what I was going to say was, now, still, even this far after COVID, there are still signs up, drive for Domino's, $19 an hour.
Yeah.
So let the market decide. Don't legislate salaries on people. Let the market decide. And people will pay what they have to pay. They'll have to pay employees what they have to pay. And then don't really have to raise prices because at least it wasn't mandated.
The private industry will designate what can survive and make everybody grow, make the employee grow, and make the company grow. I'm going to tell you, these special events that they have over where my daughter worked and where my wife continues to work, and so does she sometimes, they pay quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
But that's because that is what is demanded within the private industry. That's not government regulated.
The government that governs least governs best.
Yeah.
Totally
agree with it.
And I didn't realize the can of worms I was opening when I asked Chris Cooper. I said, well, what did we do before 1913 in this country when there were no taxes?
Right.
Taxes started in 1913. And then,
it was supposed to be temporary.
Right. I'm not even sure I knew that, Ken. So that's great. But what did Chris say? Well, was there Medicare back then? Well, no.
No.
Was there Medicare? Nope. Social Security? Nope. I don't know, Ken. I don't know. I'm too stupid to figure this stuff out, but I do know I'm smart enough to bring stuff up.
But the threat here is now here's what the Democrats, of course, they're not campaigning on their what they do well. Okay, they're campaigning on, okay, Donald Trump's going to take away your Social Security, which he is not. He's even said it. He said there's no way I'm touching any of that. No Medicare, but they're saying that they're going to take all this stuff away. That's the way they campaign. And Donald Trump, just so you know, is not going to do any of that stuff.
So we have a minute left, but I know you're not a fan of Social Security.
It's a socialist thing. I mean, but we have it. Right now, we can't just stop it. You've got too many people who are depending on it. We've got to convert. What we have to do is somehow convert slowly into a 401k style situation where a person puts in their money and it's theirs.
And that could take a generation.
It could.
Right? I mean,
well, then stop giving money to Ukraine.
No, I get that part. But, I put money into Social Security my whole life.
And I have too, yeah.
You're right. Every job, a portion is taken out for Social Security with the hope that you get that money back when you retire.
And that was the agreement originally, yeah. Did you ever see that sheet that you get at a certain age, you get a sheet of all the years you worked and all the years that you put in? It's amazing. I mean, you don't even think about it, but man, it's a lot of money.
And you don't get back what you put in, right?
Well,
it depends upon when you retire.
Yeah, it depends on when you retire. I mean, statistically, a guy probably doesn't get what he puts into it.
You used to be able to, if you were going to, and you still can, but you'd get less, get your Social Security at 62, right?
Right.
Now it's up to, for me, my retirement age, according to Social Security, 66 and a half.
Right.
And that doesn't mean the half of this year, because I said to my wife, boy, in May, right, or June, that's half the year. She goes, no.
No.
From your birthday. So, damn it. All right.
I hope they can get together as a government with both parties or whomever they need to get this thing fixed, because it's going to have to get fixed, because within the next 10 years, it's supposed to be dissolved.
That's what I mean. And it'll take a generation to get to the plan you're talking about, which is a great plan. Put money away into like a 401k style, privately operated.
Right.
Not the government. I can't do it anymore.
You can, Bill.
No, can't do it.
You can.
Okay. How about if we do it with Rob Bluey? He's next.
Whoosh.
From the Daily Signal on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We're not going to Disney World or any other world.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 1019 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
I remember this house I used to live in a long time ago. My utility bills were crazy high because this cold draft kept coming through my windows. The problem was I did not at the time have Window World windows. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. Give them a call today, 314-993-1800, to find out about their windows that are not just durable, but they offer security, beauty, and energy efficiency. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Fox News commentary.
80 to 100,000 people showed up in Wildwood, New Jersey to support Donald Trump. You think Joe could do that? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel's been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel. It's where success meets success. Start your journey at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
80 to 100,000 patriots showed up in Wildwood, New Jersey on Saturday afternoon, likely the largest political rally that state has ever seen. You think Joe could do any of that? First of all, there aren't 80 to 100,000 people who would show up to a Biden anything. 8 to 10 is pretty much his max. No one that isn't paid to be is excited about Joe Biden. And do you really think Joe could stand in front of a crowd that size and go pretty much totally off script while also navigating a gag order? Heck, do you think Joe could just remain upright in that kind of situation? The honest answer, even for you lefties out there, is no. You know it, I know it. That's another reason we need a presidential debate schedule. Just imagine what it would look and sound like for Joe to stand on a stage without a teleprompter and debate Trump for 60 to 90 minutes. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
We as we evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships, let me be clear. Certain principles of our international system are sacrosanct.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
All right. So our podcast goes up shortly after the show is over. Ken diligently works to get that up for you. You can pick it up wherever you find podcasts, okay? And our uncensored podcast drops tomorrow at noon.
Yes.
Right? So you got a lot to listen to when you go to your podcast when it comes to Vic and Ken. So very quickly, before we get to Bluey, there's two quick things I want to talk about. First of all, you were talking to him about military salaries.
Oh, listener Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say, Ken?
He said that when he went into the armed forces, he was making 66 cents an hour.
And you cutting grass?
Well, cutting grass, I was getting about $8 for a lawn. But when I first went into the movie cinema, like popping popcorn and everything, $2.35 an hour.
Yeah. So all this made me think of the song by Jon Stewart called Gold. You know that song?
Yeah.
Turn the music into gold. But the verse that goes, my buddy Jim Bass, he's been working pumping gas and he makes $2.50 for an hour. So that's right in there.
Yeah,
right.
it is.
There's no line in that song. The other thing, because somebody said in the chat box, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. However, Don said when you're working, you can't opt out of Social Security insurance. And you try to start that system. If you try to start that system now that we were talking about, your private thing,
right,
it would bankrupt the current system until the government stops giving foreign aid.
I that's where I totally agree with him.
So somebody said on TV this weekend, oh, I think it was Jesse Waters Friday night, said Trump wanted $10 billion to build a wall. How many billions did we give Ukraine, which doesn't benefit this country at all?
Well, I'll correct you. It was $5 billion. That Trump,
sorry about that.
Trump begged for $5 billion, and Nancy Pelosi wouldn't give it to him.
Inflation. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So $5 billion for the wall, hundreds of billions to Ukraine, which doesn't benefit us at all.
No.
I mean, who thinks that's a good idea?
No, we give away trillions of dollars around the world, Vic. If we took that money, put it back into our pockets, it's our money. It's not like we're borrowing it. It's our money that we create as people, individuals. We create this. Then instead of it shoved into Ukraine and Iran, pallets of cash into Iran, why don't we keep it and then give it to the people?
All right. You know who can figure out some of this stuff for us? Rob Bluey. Today is the Vic Porcelli Show correspondent switcheroony. We had Douglas Blair on this morning in Rob Bluey's spot, and Rob Bluey is here for Doug at 10:41. Rob, thanks for accommodating us on our big switcheroony here today.
Well, thank you for being flexible. I'm the one who initiated the
whole thing. You're the switcheroony guy.
Hey, Rob, if it's possible for you to turn down a little bit, could you do that? Because I can pull you up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
there
perfect.
You go. That's beautiful.
We should have showed up for rehearsal. But I use the word switcheroony. I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with anything. But one year, about 20 years ago, they had the April 1st great cartoon switcheroony, where guys who drew comic strips drew each other's comics.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it was just really cool to know that there's a camaraderie there, even between cartoonists.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I'm an idiot. Okay. So, Rob, what we were talking about there was Donald Trump wanted $5 billion to build a wall. Nope. Can't have it because your name's Donald Trump. Oh, Ukraine, Zelensky? No problem. Hundreds of billions. I mean, who votes in this country thinks that's a good idea?
It's a stark contrast that I'm glad you're talking about, because consistently when you ask the American people, and that's whether it's just anecdotally or whether it's in polling data, they think that what this administration has done in terms of creating the fires across this globe are distracting us from the problems here at home. And so I think this is particularly why Donald Trump has said, no, our first and foremost focus needs to be on fixing the problems that are broken here in the United States, starting with the porous border that is wide open thanks to Joe Biden's policies. And so absolutely, you're right, Vic. I mean, we need to make sure that this is properly funded. We made great progress during Trump's 4 years on many of these fronts, not just the border wall, but many of the policies that were put in place. And what did Biden do on day one? He wiped them all out.
Yep. And over the weekend, he had a little Freudian slip when he called all the immigrants voters. How about that?
Well, is it really Freudian? I mean, maybe that's the excuse.
Right.
No, I mean, I say that because my colleagues at the Oversight Project have discovered that there are flyers in some of these locations where the illegal aliens stop on their journey to the United States, encouraging them to vote for Biden. And we have long suspected that there's a underlying campaign in many places. I mean, this is why I think what the House did last week with the Equal Representation Act was so important, and why with the SAVE Act that Chip Roy is pushing and Mike Lee, it's also important. We need to do everything we can to make sure that these foreign citizens are first of all, not counted toward the Electoral College. That gives some states undue influence that they shouldn't have. And secondly, we need to make sure that they're not casting votes in our elections. I mean, those are just two very common sense things. And yet, you know what? There's not a single Democrat who supported that Equal Representation Act in the House last week. I mean, it's just remarkable to see how far that party has come.
Yeah. So we were talking this morning and we're confused because if Joe Biden is the nominee once the November elections come, Rob, I can't see him winning more than 3 or 4 states. And so I guess the question is, are you guys going to run out Biden, or are you going to run somebody else? Who at this late stage, that doesn't even seem like a plausible idea. So what do you think about him? Will he be there in November? Will they replace him with somebody else at the convention? Will they keep him and change VPs in case something happens to him? Then that person will take over. I mean, what do you think their strategy is so we can combat it?
I think there's a high likelihood that you will see some sort of change. Now, whether it's the man at the top of the ticket or whether it's the VP, it remains to be seen. But the poll numbers are so concerning that I would imagine that the Democrats are having these private conversations about what exactly they should do. Now, the big wild card in here is Biden has said he will not go. Now, whether he's just saying that publicly and privately realizes that his days are numbered is, maybe a matter for him and Jill to discuss in their private quarters. But, it's one of those things where I just cannot imagine, given the stakes of what we're talking about here, that he's going to just continue with the status quo, Vic. I don't see it.
Yeah. How about all these people who, Michael Douglas and, the guy who was in Star Wars, talking about how great he is. How stupid are they going to look when he's not even the nominee in November?
Yeah, and I think the thing that's most concerning about that is, assuming that the Democrats can figure out the procedural way to make it all work, is if they go with somebody like a Gavin Newsom of California, it's perhaps more challenging for the Republican nominee Donald Trump then in some regards. First of all, you will not have the time to examine that person's record. They will be a fresh face. And as we know, some of them are pretty polished in terms of their approach with voters. And so, you won't be voting on Joe Biden's record, but somebody else's record who you may not have as much familiarity with.
All right. So his record's one thing, absolutely utmost importance. But how about just his behavior, right? Ashley Biden has officially confirmed that her diary, where she talks about showering with her dad, Joe Biden, is real. What about that kind of behavior? Forget policy. They hated Donald Trump for whatever reason, and this isn't enough to hate the guy?
Well, Vic, the problem is that there aren't that many people talking about it. You, us, there. So I sometimes fear that we're conservatives know about it, but do those swing voters, those people who are going to play an outsized role in determining the outcome of this election in the 6 or 7 states that ultimately will flip the balance in the Electoral College, are they hearing about it? And there's a concerted effort on the part of the news media, and there has been. You and I have talked about this for many times, to have this biased approach where Trump gets all of the negative coverage and Biden can do no wrong. And so I think as long as the people learn about that, just like if they learned about the laptop prior to the last election, they would have changed their mind. I mean, we have poll after poll that shows that.
And this letter that Ashley Biden wrote was obtained by the New York Times. So there may be a little chance that people on the left could see this and say, God, the guy's disgusting. I don't know. All right.
There's always a hope that voters will discover this information, or the other pieces. If they're not going to get it from the news media, then it's incumbent upon the opposition party, the Republican Party, to make sure that they hear about it through ads and through other mechanisms. So there's still a lot of time here. I think that the one thing that gives me hope as a conservative is that this administration has done such a horrible job when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the border, when it comes to crime, that it seems that the American people recognize that, and they are craving a conservative solution and a better approach to how to deal with these issues.
Meanwhile, President Trump draws 100,000 people to the Jersey Shore in Wildwood, New Jersey. Jeff Van Drew, who was a Republican representative, was a Democrat, flipped to the Republican side, was there. Lawrence Taylor, who people still love in New Jersey, trust me, in support of him. 100,000 people. Some people are calling it the biggest political crowd ever.
Oh, there is enthusiasm for Trump. I mean, particularly among those who love him and all of the ideas that he brings to the table. But I think increasingly there's a longing for going back to those 4 years and all of the economic prosperity, the world peace, and everything else good that was happening in the world. And I think that as you compare and contrast the two candidates on that front, I mean, there's really no issue. And so could Joe Biden draw 100,000 people? I maybe to a protest, policies, but not certainly a rally.
Well, Rob, how much of this? Okay, I keep hearing on the left and on TV shows now, they cannot avoid the idea that Trump is drawing this massive amount of people. So what do? They say, well, here's the reason why.
Oh, God.
It's purely because he's in court all the time, and they feel sorry for him. They don't like him. They just feel sorry for him, Rob. How much of that is bull stuff?
Oh, I think it's 100%.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Sorry, Rob.
It's clear that they're looking for excuse after excuse to try to explain away these things. But the thing is, if you go back to 2015 and 2016, when the same type of thing was happening, they kept telling us, and you remember the New York Times famously was predicting, even on election night, that Hillary Clinton was going to be the winner. So yeah. I think that they will continue to live in this world of denial and do everything they can in their small bubble to tell themselves that this isn't going to happen. But the vast number of American people are obviously going to have a different approach to that.
I'm surprised the media doesn't say, oh, they're just down there in Wildwood to get some Max Pizza or a hoagie at Luigi's on New Jersey Avenue or French fries with malt vinegar. They're not there to see Trump, which I would go to. Go ahead.
Well, Vic, what these supporters of Trump recognize is that, and I'm so glad that you guys brought up the trial, because I mean, I think that they see what's happening to Trump and they see what's happening to other January 6th political prisoners and other individuals who have just been targeted by the government in one way or another. And they say, look, this is, if we don't have somebody like this fighting for us in the White House, then we stand no chance. And so I think that they do rally to his defense for that reason.
Yep. Max Pizza is pretty good, though, I want to say. So are those hoagies at Luigi's on New Jersey Avenue. My friends and I used to go to Wildwood every summer, and just raise a ruckus. All right. Again, Rob, well, now that we know that you started all the switcheroony stuff, thanks. It was fun. A little different.
Yeah.
A little shake it up with Doug first and you now. So thanks so much. Daily Signal, Heritage Foundation, at Robert Bluey. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you, Ken.
Hey, see you, Rob.
Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, Ken, I just don't know. I think that the left right now is in so much trouble, but they make it think like, no. You guys are in trouble. You deplorables, you're the ones that are in trouble.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do. The message they're putting out right now is Trump is insane. Trump is going to create the exact same thing we're saying that Biden is actually doing right now.
And they go so ridiculous that there'll never be another election ever again. If Trump is elected. He's a threat to our democracy, which isn't a democracy, it's a republic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic.
Not democracy?
No.
Battle hymn of the
republic.
Not battle hymn of the democracy?
No.
I'll be damned.
No.
All right. Not enough. Well, if you want to, I don't know, a couple of things I don't want to miss here in the chat box. Is that okay?
Go for it. Yeah.
Because there was some really good stuff.
Yeah.
Don says, wait. Oh, yeah. Ruthie says, I'm certain the idiots who walked out at Duke have bumper stickers that say tolerance, coexist.
Oh, yes.
Be civil,
love,
resist
peace.
hate.
Oh, yes.
But they hate Donald Trump.
I love everybody but them.
When you're working, you can't opt out. We read that one. It's a national Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Right? I think I've heard you say that. Hey, Vickheads, Ken was spot on as regards conservatives.
Yes.
Not only have we fought slavery and promoted civil rights historically, look at Richard Nixon's legislations regarding natural resources. Ken said that. I should just go. You should just come.
No,
you
should.
I don't know why.
No way.
A lot of people said they love the show. Thanks so much.
Thanks for being there, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Cannot thank you enough. Thanks so much also for having the record player on at night to listen to us this
Make
morning.
sure you have the record player on at night.
What an idiot. Joe, I mean. Bongino's next. We'll see you tomorrow.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on NewstalkSTL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Feel the sizzling heat of summer savings at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Rev up your summer with 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on a John Deere compact tractor. You can purchase a 1 Series tractor for less than $10 a day. It's time to elevate your equipment game with a hard-working, versatile tractor. Don't let this sizzling hot deal on compact tractors slip away. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 7/31/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Israel observing Memorial Day, and this year's observance marked by profound sadness following the October 7th attacks by Hamas. Former Bush foreign policy advisor Dan Senor says the threat of war is a constant concern for the Israeli people.
They live with the enemy. The enemy is on their border. Their enemy is omnipresent. And everybody in Israeli society, most people, are serving in some way. And so it touches every single person day in, day out.
Senor interviewed on the Salem Radio Network. Despite pro-Palestinian protest on some U.S. college campuses this spring, graduation ceremonies are going off largely peaceful so far. At Emerson College in Boston, some students took off their graduation robes and left them on stage. A few dozen pro-Palestinian protesters tried to block access to Sunday evening's commencement for Southern California's Pomona College. Also at townhall.com, there are concerns over interest rates and an upcoming inflation report.
Are U.S. interest rates high enough to beat inflation? The government will release April's inflation report this Wednesday. Economists are forecasting it will show inflation has declined 0.1% from March to about 3.4%. Inflation has been inching up since January after declining sharply last year, raising concerns about stalled progress. Analysts say part of the issue may be that Americans are spending less than 10% of their after-tax income servicing debt. Millions of Americans refinanced when rates were low and therefore feel little impact from Fed rate hikes. Jennifer King, Washington.
Senator Bob Menendez in a Manhattan courthouse for the start of his trial on charges he accepted bribes of gold and cash to use his influence to aid 3 New Jersey businessmen. Menendez has pleaded not guilty to all charges. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, an evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank digital currencies to determine how they're going to control America. And that's why I recommend all Christians start a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. because physical precious metals are one of the few ways you can maintain control over your own savings. To get a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and you'll see why a gold IRA can help you. There are no strings attached. Text the word FAITH to 989898, and you're going to be blessed by taking action right now.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A slow-moving area of low pressure will take a couple of days to make its way across Missouri and Illinois. So for us, periods of rain and thunderstorms today and tomorrow. Up to about 75 this afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy tonight, down to 63. We'll have on and off rain with some drizzle and fog in between. And for tomorrow, once again, scattered rain and a few rumbles of thunder. Tuesday's high 73. We'll catch a dry break on Wednesday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Attention farmers, is your material handling equipment coming up short in your operation? A JCB TM Series telescopic wheel loader from Sievers JCB can take your productivity to new heights. Bucket capacities range from 1 yard to 4 yards and lift heights up to 18 feet. Don't miss out on special short-term lease options and put JCB TM productivity to work on your farm for under $3,000 per month. To schedule your on-farm demo, call or visit SieversJCB.com today. News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere. News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the fight to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
Oh, man, was it a bad day, a bad weekend for the Democrats. Can you imagine, right? Imagine you're watching RSBN or Fox or Newsmax, OANN, any of these, sane, not crazy, left-wing CNN type networks. You're watching it, and there's a helicopter drone overflight of the Trump rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. And you're thinking to yourself, what is that, Woodstock? No, it's a Trump rally in Wild. But that's New Jersey. That's like a blue state. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it looks like there's like 10,000 people. I mean, 20. No, maybe 40. Oh, and the drone keeps going. You're like, 50. 65. Maybe 7. Oh, 8, 9. No, 100,000. 100,000. It's like It's like 6 figures. Or Brian Williams' married gay math, it's like 9 figures. Some of you get that. That is right. Justin like chiming in on a radio show. These guys got some balls in here. They just like come in my studio. Like, yes, these guys, the producer, the podcast team, folks, they just hang around. They think they just talk whenever they want. No respect. Like Rodney Dangerfield. Like, that's right. And Tony said it right. The new studio, they're going to be segregated into an office. It's going to be a wall between us. I'm going to hit a button. It's going to close them off. Like a bat cave. Yeah, no. It's here. Here's a Guy reference. Remember Empire Guy when Han Solo leaves and the Chewie goes. That's what's gonna happen. Guy's gonna do a Chewbacca moan when the door closes. That's the Riker bit. Man, I can't even imagine. Like, what are they thinking? Like, they're sitting there going, folks, it's New Jersey. New Jersey's a blue state. It's been a blue state since, what was it, George H.W. Bush? That was eons ago. There are kids born now who don't even know who that is. They're like, what are you talking about? You mean like George W.? No, he had a dad. He was president too. Oh, what a weekend. Which, by the way, I've got a weekend update. I know it's Monday. I don't drive you guys crazy with my personal stories. But, Jim, if you would, because the Stick to the Issues crowd typically hates this, but, Jim, the line.
Stick to the Issues crowd. This is your 2-minute warning. Please return in 2 minutes.
It's about 2 minutes. This one's not that long. I had an interesting weekend. Friday night, went out to Oak and Ember, my friend Kyle G's steakhouse down here in Stewart. I love that spot. I was there with my wife and my 2 daughters are home, folks. One of them, as you know, is away at college. My other one is, 6th grader now. So she's with us obviously all the time. And, there's this trend on TikTok. Jim, have you seen this trend on TikTok? It's called the Dinks, the dual income, no kids. It's like they do these videos on TikTok, folks, in case you see them. They're like, we're dinks, dual income, no kids. And it's cool. Like, do your own thing. Like, they're proud of the fact that they're like 25, 30, 35, whatever. And they have no kids. They're like, we get to sleep in on the weekends. We have no kids. And all stuff. Hey, man, cool, bro. Like, you do you. I'm not like knocking anybody's lifestyle. I'm certainly nobody's moral compass either. Like, I get that. But I'm going to tell you something. Sitting out to dinner Friday night. And then last night, Mother's Day, we went out for an early dinner down to Josephine's down the block. Great restaurant we love locally too. And I'm with my 4 kids again. And we're all like kind of talking and laughing about stupid stuff and all this other thing. And I'm thinking to myself, folks, if you're one of those dinks out there, like dual income, no kids, and you're doing TikTok videos, you can never prove a counterfactual, right? A counterfactual is something that didn't happen. I can't prove what was going to happen because it didn't happen. Well, that applies to kids too. Like, because it's not happening and you're missing out on this stuff, you think you're really enjoying life. And you may be having fun, like partying. I party with Paul all the time. My kids don't seem to care, right? But Jim, you're a dad. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like, folks, you're missing out on something really special. There is something about, I get choked up like a wuss. There is something about the magic and the love of being around your kids. Yeah, there's downtimes, man. I get it. Like, they misbehave when they're younger. Sometimes they yell at you. You get into fights once in a while. But gosh, there's something so special about that. I mean, Evita knows better. Evita's one of 9. Imagine 9 kids. That's like my grandmother's one of 9 kids. I mean, it's something about that. And then I went to my friend's 50th birthday party. My happy birthday, my friend Aaron. He's a local dentist. He's 50 years old. It was a great party. I had a magician there. And folks, he was doing these crazy card tricks. The guy, I'm telling you, the guy was like a demon. The dude was like a possessed. And I was a little worried. I had a bad feeling we were entering the spirit realm. And I was getting a little nervous. So I had to drink some more tequila just to distract me from the spirit realm, which then entered me into the other spirit realm, which is a totally different spirit realm than the one the magician was in. So I had a good time, woke up Sunday morning. I don't even know if we want to call that waking up. Whatever happened, got back to the show. But that's it. That's the weekend update. Back to the hard news, Jim.
This TMI moment is brought to you by Dan Bongino.
Okay, back to the important stuff. So the rally this weekend, we're going to talk about that. We're not just going to talk about it superficially. Hey, a lot of people showed up. Great. What does it mean? Well, it means some things and it doesn't mean other things. Of course, talking about the Trump rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, I've never seen a crowd like that. 80 to 100,000 people. someone who's run for office and been an activist, you have any idea how hard it is to get even 1,000 people to show up? Hey, Jim, you remember the Dallas book signing? Folks, we had 1,100 people at a book signing in Dallas. We nearly shut them all down. We thought it was the greatest thing ever. Jim and I were looking at each other, right? Mike was there. We were like, is Mike back, by the way? Or is he still sunning his loins? And he's not back? He is, okay. So is Tom in today? Okay. So Tom wasn't there, but pretend he was. Folks, that book signing went on for like 4 hours. We thought it was the greatest thing ever. Donald Trump had 100 times as many people. 100 times. That's a huge number. I'm going to tell you what it means and what it doesn't mean. But I want to open with this. Jim, cue up for me, if you would, cut one. This was this morning. So the trial, we're going to be following it all day. Michael Cohen's been on the stand. Folks, I would love to report to you some massive breaking news about the Trump trial. Everybody all weekend, they were teeing this up. Michael Cohen testifying on Monday. I've been following it all morning, folks. He has said nothing. There is still no crime. The same thing you knew before. But here's what you knew before, it's you know now. And Jim, if I'm wrong, correct me. Yes, he was his lawyer. Yes, he claims to have fixed problems. And yes, he was paid legal expenses. That's it. That's what came out. It's the whole, folks, go look at the transcript. There is not, everybody got all excited about this. Oh, and then he told everyone he loved working for Trump. That's the other breaking news. And how was it? Must have been awful. No, it was great. His quote, I think, was, it was fantastic. That's the whole trial. Here was Donald Trump this morning at court. Now, I love radio. Love radio. The only downside to radio is you're going to miss the visual on this, but I'm going to play it for you anyway. This is Trump this morning. I'm going to paint a picture for you afterwards about why this clip is important. This is Donald Trump in court in Manhattan this morning. Listen to this.
This all comes from Biden in the White House, by the way. And they have their top people here. Because when he can't put two sentences together, he's the worst president in the history of our country. Can't speak, can't walk off a helicopter, can't walk off a plane, can't walk off a stage. And the only way they think they can win is if they can do something with Trump. Because we have an incompetent, the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
Now, we know all that stuff, and I'm glad Donald Trump gets to do that every morning. But folks, even the Democrats are now starting to see how destructive this is. They've got Joe Biden stumbling and bumbling around the country, showing up in front of crowds of maybe 50 to 80 people, and 25 of them are press. They don't know what to do. While Donald Trump every morning and afternoon gets an international outlet to speak to the press outside of a courtroom filled with Democrats persecuting, not prosecuting him. The optics of it, the snapshots and the sound bites, which is all campaigns are, the pictures and the sound bites are terrible. They are backfiring so badly. Siena New York Times poll came out today. 5 of 6 swing states. Donald Trump is absolutely annihilating Joe Biden, crushing him. It is embarrassing. It is humiliating. Now, why did I mention the visuals of that shot? Folks, in the background, as Donald Trump was doing that this morning, something we called for is finally happening. Now, I'm not suggesting they took my advice. They probably figured this. It's not hard to figure out, so I want to take credit for it. But we had said, I think it was last week, Jim, or the week before, Jim and I were chatting about this, and I said, folks, it is the Republican Party's responsibility right now to show up every single day in court with Donald Trump. Every time in the morning and afternoon he speaks in front of that camera, we said, we want a prominent Republican out there. Somebody got the message. Ken Paxton was the first. I don't know if but he was the one I first saw. So Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, good for you. Started this trend about 2 weeks ago. Then last week, I saw Rick Scott, Republican senator from my home state of Florida. Good for you, Rick Scott. Rick Scott was there last week. Now it's catching on. Over his right shoulder this morning, Senator J.D. Vance from Ohio, Senator Tommy Tuberville from the great state of Alabama. I wonder if he checked in with Alabama Dale before we went at it. I don't know. It could be, but former coach at Auburn, which is makes him a hero of mama. He was there. Who else was there? Nicole Maliotakis as well, sitting off his left shoulder. Nicole Maliotakis, Congresswoman from New York. Every single day, we need to have prominent Republicans with followings there tweeting about this ridiculosity every single day. I applaud you guys for doing it. Hat tip. Great job. this is what we need to get done, because campaigns are snapshots and sound bites. And they're starting to realize right now that this has backfired and backfired badly. You know, you got to pull yourself out of it sometimes. You and I are very emotionally invested in this because they're stealing our country away. And we see him. We see Donald Trump as the biggest obstacle to them doing that. But for a second, pull yourself out of this, because I know we get upset. I know I'm there with you, man. I get it. You're like, how much more of this are we going to take? You got this Twinkies case. You got this Fonnie Willis case. You got this crazy lunatic Jack Smith with this anti-First Amendment case. All of this stuff. Like, how much more are we going to take? The only smile I can tell you to put on your face and exercise those muscles is the actual facts and receipts back up what I'm telling you. Folks, this is backfiring. It just spectacular fashion every single day. I got into it a little bit on the podcast at the end where we were talking about these congressional hearings about Biden. And people are like, enough hearings. Yes, enough hearings. Action. I get it. But the hearings have destroyed Biden's reputation. His numbers keep going down and down and down. And if Congress isn't going to do anything, which they're not, they haven't done a damn thing to stop the spending, anything like that, then at least hold hearings and make Biden look stupid. This stuff is not working, folks. The Siena poll and New York Times poll is just one of maybe 10 or 20 polls showing you that the messaging, the story you think you're getting out there is not the story that's being received by the American public. Here's Axios. Axios is a pretty left-wing outlet. They're not as far left as Politico and the Daily East and Mother Jones. I mean, that's just like straight up communist propaganda. But they definitely lean pretty far left. Here's Axios this weekend. Donald Trump's New Jersey show of force. President Trump drew a rally crowd of 80 to 100,000, according to a city official's estimate, near the boardwalk in the Jersey Shore town of Wildwood. The beachfront gathering was designed as a show of force at a critical moment for Trump, who faces 88 felony charges in 4 separate criminal cases with the election 6 months away. You notice how AP reported that in Axios, and they had to throw that in there, never realizing that the reason they threw that in there is the exact reason 80 to 100,000 people showed up. Folks, a lot of these same people out there are not traditional Republicans. A lot of these people have never voted, a lot of independents, a lot of Democrats. But the Democrats don't understand is a lot of these people feel aggrieved by the system. And they see Trump as a victim of the very same system. Whether you agree with it or not is completely irrelevant. I'm telling you what is, not what you want to be. There are people out there since the housing crisis happened who feel like the economy's rigged against them. There are people out there who feel the regulatory government bureaucracy is rigged against them. There are people out there who feel screwed and aggrieved by people coming after them with subpoena powers and lawsuits. There are people who feel like their kids have gotten screwed over in schools with a terrible education. Donald Trump has become a martyr for that cause, and the left is finally starting to wake up to the fact that this may have totally backfired. I'll bring you the receipts and the audio coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
And paid for by America First Tax Group. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial